It is pretty wild. I mean, you mentioned the spread; it's 4, or maybe you mentioned that on the mailbag tomorrow.
I mentioned it today too.
Oh, okay. But it's we have to look at this game as a possibility two ways. Like one, the Rams are hyped up right now because they just signed Odell, and the Niners have a lot going wrong. The flip side of that is, if you win this game, you're 4-5 going to Jacksonville. With then the reunion, you win that game, then you're 5-5. As crazy as that sounds, with Kirk Cousins coming in.
To Levi's.
Yeah, Vikings and Kirk Cousins will be coming in next. And I actually think, not Justin Jefferson's not a great matchup. Neither is Adam Thielen, but you do know the quarterback pretty well.
Well, the best thing they have going for them is, we had talked about betting on the Saints. I mean, it's not inconceivable the Saints lose to the Titans in Tennessee. Atlanta plays the Cowboys this week. Carolina plays Arizona. They have a quarterback disaster on their hands, right? Sam Darnold sucks. He's out forever. PJ Walker, now Cam off the street. And like you said, Minnesota. Now, to me, the one wild card for the third spot, or excuse me, the seventh spot is Seattle. Russell's back now pretty quick. But they play Green Bay this week in Lambeau. So, I mean, all of a sudden they just lose that game. You're 3-6. This game, to me, like, it is going to be hard. I just think at 3-6, it'd just be hard to get to 8 wins, right? You just start doing the math. You're like, God, you're pretty far deep, right? Because they're not good enough to just. Are they a lock to just beat the Jags and Minnesota back to back at that rate? Who knows?
No, I mean at Seattle, at Cincy, you sweeping those 2 games. Atlanta at Tennessee, there's no. They don't really have any back to. When you look at their schedule, this is their stretch coming up after the Rams. "Quote unquote" stretch, Jacksonville, Minnesota, and you and I, as you said, both think Minnesota's solid, maybe a little better than their record. But it's gonna be their stretch to like get momentum against teams that you should beat started week 1, week 2, boom, boom, go. Then you got to beat Green Bay or Seattle, and then you're 3-1. It didn't happen that way. But there's no like stretch of 2 or 3 straight games that you'll be favored in the rest of the year. Like, if they beat the Rams on Monday, what would the line on the Jags game be? 2.5? Niners minus 2.5?
Probably a little smaller than it should be.
Yeah.
Because
2.5 too small?
They've been bad.
3.5?
No, I mean, something like that.
They do get respect, the Niners.
The one thing with Seattle is like they got to go to Lambeau with Rodgers coming back. Then the following week, they got the Cards. Now, the Cards have a million injuries, but that's a tough little stretch there, To me, yeah, you just got to. If you don't win this game, none of this is. You just have to win Monday night. Somewhat of an upset in a weird spot for the first time this season. You just get to be just a pretty huge underdog. No one's going to pick you. Everyone thinks you're going to lose. The Odell Beckham is only going to add to that. Those stretches like it happens on College Game Day and happens on NFL Sunday mornings, like when it's. The Jags upset the Bills, and it shows like the 17 people that picked, and it says Bills across the bottom ticker.
That's right. Yeah.
There is going to be.
It's like a player retweets it like, noted emoji.
That'll be one of those situations. Like, there are not going to be many people picking the Niners on Sunday, right? When they do the pick segments on all the shows.
No, I don't think you'll have any.
Yeah. And I would imagine gambling, maybe some of the sharps will take the Niners, but casual people that bet, I would imagine everyone's going to hammer. Because if I just said the casual NFL fan that lives in Arizona or Texas, you can get the Rams -4 versus the Niners this week. They're 10 points better.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, the Niners have won 4 straight in the series.
It's a lot different.
Right, because Stafford's there now.
And Odell.
But this is, to me, this is where, if you were playing Jared Goff this week, it'd feel like a different game.
But the Rams wouldn't be 7-2, right?
No, they might not. You're right. They would feel like a different team because they look like a Super Bowl contender. But like that is what would make this so impressive for the 49ers, is to do it against this quarterback that they think is really good. We know it because they wanted him.
Yeah.
And their defense needs to have the kind of game where it doesn't just hang on, but it makes some plays for you. They go and do it. Like, that's what they would have to do in this game, is go make some plays. Like, you can't win this game. Do you agree if their defense doesn't go make some plays?
Do you know what I think people want? Is, for the love of God, can you just try a couple trick plays? A double pass, a fake punt, a fake field goal, something where people go, holy shit. Like, Kyle, what do you have to lose besides more football games? Like, can you just try a fake punt or a fake field goal? Is that even possible?
They tried the trick play the other day, and it resulted in Ayuk losing like 5 yards.
I'd argue like a double reverse in 2021. Is that even considered a trick play anymore?
It is if you throw the ball, but that was not a throwing play. Yeah. But just like a double end around is not a trick play.
In our youth, a double end around was a pretty big whoa. To me now, it's like I need like a double flea flicker or something.
Yeah.
Can you try? Remember against the Saints, they pulled that out. Like, it is a big spot. Can you just try a couple fucking crazy things? Just try a couple crazy things. You know, part of the reason I think people are so mad at Kyle, obviously the offense just feels stagnant, and whenever it even gets going, they turn the ball over. But nothing where someone goes, hell yeah. That's my coach. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Well, that used to be everything was just swag games. Like just it happens. But see, he does it with the run as a lot of it, right?
Just do some swag things. Wouldn't shock me if they do a double pass with Odell. Odell can throw. Wouldn't shock you if they like quick screen, then Odell throws it to Cooper Kupp. You're like, they're implementing trick plays in 3 days. Just you guys haven't implemented all season long.
Well, is Odell going to punt return?
I mean, who knows?
That's the one thing you don't need to do any prep for.
Yeah, just throw him back there. Is he graduated out of that in his own mind?
Hey, man. I told you we were going to get you 12 touches, but 5 of those are going to be on punt. Did you? You don't count a punt return as a target?
I saw you kick return at LSU your freshman year. You want to try that out? You know what? Because it was like you just use him as a body.
Yeah, the way the Patriots used Cam Newton.
He's like, guys, I'm trying to get a long-term contract here. They're like, yeah, we're just really worried about November, so let's walk before we run here, buddy.
We can revisit, circle back. We'll ping you on that later. Ben on the stream says, so the Niners are winning, right? I don't know, but I do think anytime something feels sure to go one way, you have to be very open to the possibility that why do we, and you mentioned this earlier, why do we feel the way we feel about the Niners? Several things. The quarterback situation, some of the mistakes they've made over the course of the games they've played, the injuries they've had, everyone's just kind of down. And when everyone's down, it's easy to dismiss part of the struggles that are in a different category, which is bad luck. And they have had some of that. Now, some of that, like the Jason Verrett injury, you put yourself in that position for that to hurt you. But they've had things happen that have just been plain bad luck. And so when everyone's down, we overlook some of those things. I do think they have a chance to win the game. But they're going to have to overcome. Here's a couple things that are going to have to happen. One, like I said, takeaways. Two, things are just going to go wrong for them. They're going to have to be able to overcome them because things have gone wrong in every game they've played.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of like a math problem. The 49ers aren't that terrible of a team, and they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. Now, a lot of those were to playoff-level opponents, but you lose this game, you've lost 6 of your 7 games. Like, that's something like the Jags do. That's something the Texans, like 6 of 7 games. That's hard to do in the NFL. If you win 5 games, you usually don't go on a stretch where you lose 6 of 7. Like, that's an all-time bad stretch. Think about that. 6 of 7 games.
Yeah.
It's one thing when Kyle first got here and the team was atrocious and they started like 1 of 8 or 1-8. But that team had infinitely less talent, right? There were, besides like Juszczyk, who else? And Joe Staley. I mean, they had like 3 good players. This team still, even with some of these randoms, to me, it just gets back to the kitchen sink game. Throw some trick plays. Run a fake on special teams. Can you not do that? Do a special teams fake?
I love how attached you are to the fakes.
But why do you laugh at? Like, that is something good teams do.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I just love no, I'm not making fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like them to lead like 10-play scoring drives, but I don't think it's very easy for them to do that.
Well, and special teams in particular is a way to steal a possession too, right? When you can't get stops and you're just trading points, and that's not when you require, because the problem, right, is the Niners need 12-play drives unless they get a screen to Debo. The Rams don't need 12-play drives.
No. They throw it to Cooper Kupp 4 times a drive, and they cover 80 yards.
As somebody in the where did this comment go? I threw it up. Rome to Upsetter writes, OBJ to the Rams, we are bottom dwellers. I mean, that's the other part of it, right? Let's see. Well, the Cardinals still have to get through the full season with Kyler, but Arizona's good. The Rams are good. Seattle, the time is now for them to get good again with Russell Wilson on his way back, right?
Well, then put it this way, though. Here's what I say about the bottom dwellers, because I think part of that is going to encompass Von Miller as well. If the Niners had offered their second and third round pick for Von Miller, same exact deal. I read The Athletic wrote this like kind of a piece on how they acquired him, like how they went back and forth and they were talking for a couple weeks. If the Niners offered their second, third round pick, and so did the Rams, the Niners would have got him. I think a lot of people have been like, what are they doing if they had done that, right? It was a pretty crazy move. Like a lot of teams in the NFL could have had Von Miller with them eating the cash for their second and third round pick.
Yes,
this one to me represents he chose them. This guy had options. Vaughn did.
Yeah.
Vaughn was going to go wherever they traded him to.
Right. We would have viewed the Niners that way, but part of that is how we view where those two teams are. Like once you get to once you're as good as the Rams are, you need less. There's less things that you can do to your team. Whereas you're the Niners, there's a million things you can do to your team, right?
And he is very correct that they are bottom. They're the last place team in the division, right?
Well, and also if you lose, now you're not hanging like right now at 3-5, they're kind of, Minnesota, Seattle. You lose 6 games and now we're in the Giants, Bears, football team. Like that's a different. If you broke the NFC into 3 tiers, you'd go from the Niners are in the middle tier right now, right? They would drop down to the lower tier. So this is to your point, you want trick plays. It's a kitchen sink game. It's a desperation game.
I just think Seattle too is going to start coming with him back.